After 50, you have entered a stage of life where the mornings tell you more about your body than any mirror ever could. You wake up, the alarm clock buzzing like it always has. But instead of springing out of bed, you sit there, rubbing your eyes, staring at your slippers as if they're 10 miles away. Years ago, mornings felt electrocure, mind sharp, your muscles primed, your energy flowing before the coffee even brewed. Now, sometimes, it feels like you've waded into wet cement overnight. The odd thing, you might still get your 7 or 8 hours of sleep, yet that bounce you once relied on seems to evaporate before your feet touch the floor. It's like your body has a hidden battery drain running in the background, okay? And by sunrise, you're already down to 60%. You notice your shoulders feel heavier, your knees creak, and instead of a strong appetite, you find yourself searching for motivation to even start the day. Life doesn't end after 58, just begins a new chapter. This is a place for men who want to stay in shape, live healthy, live happily, okay, and live meaningfully after 50. But here, it's a bold fact. Doctors now report that nearly half of men past midlife experience measurable changes in their morning energy due to hormonal and metabolic shifts. What you're feeling isn't weakness, laziness, or just aging. It's a pattern one that modern science is finally unraveling. Think of it this way. Your mornings are like the dashboard of a car. The flashing signals, low motivation, brain fog, sluggish muscles are telling you what's happening under the hood. Ignore them, and you risk a breakdown later. But pay attention, and you can tune up your engine for decades of smooth driving. And yes, there's humor hidden in the struggle. Like when you bend to tie your shoes and realize you've basically performed a full yoga pose before breakfast. Or when your morning coffee feels less like a beverage and more like life support. Laugh at it, because humor keeps the load lighter. But don't dismiss it. These signals matter. Before we dive in, if you find these insights helpful for your strength and confidence after 50, I'd be grateful if you hit the like button and subscribe. Your support gives me the drive to keep bringing you powerful lessons to stay. And tell me what's your local time right now, and where are you watching from? It always amazes me how men from across the globe share the same questions, the same challenges, and the same victories. So, if you've been wondering, why do I wake up more tired at 55 than I did at 35? Stay close. The story your body is telling is one worth listening to.
You already know what it feels like. Mornings don't arrive with the same spark anymore. What used to be a natural rhythm, waking up strong, feeling focused, ready to take on the day, now feels like a low battery signal flashing as soon as you open your eyes. One of the biggest reasons, hormones, testosterone, often called the drive hormone, peaks in the morning when you're younger. It fuels not just your muscles and libido, but also your mental edge. After 50, those levels dip not overnight, but gradually, like a faucet closing millimeter by millimeter. By the time you reach your 6th decade, that morning testosterone surge is noticeably smaller. Doctors call it andropause, but let's be honest, it just feels like your get up and go has quietly packed its bags. Then there's cortisol, the so-called stress hormone. In your 30s and 40s, it rises naturally at dawn to help wake you up. But after 50, this rhythm can flip. Instead of a healthy surge, some men experience either a flat line leaving them sluggish or a sharp spike making them anxious and restless before breakfast. It's as if your body's conductor lost the baton, and the orchestra of your hormones starts playing out of tune. Ancient cultures tried to explain this shift in colorful ways. In Chinese medicine, for example, aging men were described as carrying a cooler fire, a slower internal flame that once burned bright but now flickers more gently. It wasn't considered weakness, it was wisdom. The fire no longer raged, but it glowed steadily. Yet in today's world, with alarms, deadlines, and endless notifications, that slower fire feels like a disadvantage unless you learn to work with it. Here's the lesson. Your morning fatigue isn't just about sleep or coffee. It's about your body's entire hormonal system adjusting. Doctors often recommend blood tests not just for testosterone, but also thyroid levels, vitamin D, and even iron, because all of these can play a role in how energized or drained you feel when the sun rises. And here's the strange detail most men never hear. Your testosterone doesn't just affect your muscles or sex drive, it influences your REM sleep cycles too. Less testosterone means shallower REM, which means you wake up less refreshed. It's a domino effect, starting from a single hormonal shift. But of course, the medical world still debates solutions. Are testosterone replacement therapies a safe bridge, or do they carry risks that outweigh the rewards? Some doctors call them a second chance at vitality, while others warn they're like painting over rust, you're hiding the problem, not fixing it. The truth likely sits somewhere in between, and it depends on your personal health. Here's a lighthearted way to look at it. If your hormones were a rock band, testosterone is the lead singer, cortisol is the drummer, and melatonin, the sleep hormone, is the bassist keeping rhythm. After 50, it's like the singer keeps showing up late, the drummer sometimes misses a beat, and the bassist has started napping between sets. No wonder your mornings sound off-key. But here's the encouragement. Knowing this is power. Once you understand what's happening inside, you can start making changes outside. And the good news, you're not alone. Millions of men are tuning their instruments again and rediscovering what a good morning feels like. When you roll out of bed after 50, you may blame your groggy head or stiff back on just getting older. But often, the deeper culprit is your sleep cycle. The truth is, men past midlife don't sleep the same way they did at 25. And that change can leave you drained before the day even begins. Think about how a younger man sleeps long stretches of deep, restorative sleep, the kind where dreams run wild and muscles quietly repair themselves. After 50, your body produces less melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to rest. The result, you fall asleep later, wake up earlier, and spend less time in deep stages of sleep. Instead of 8 solid hours, you may get 6 or 7 lighter ones, leaving your recovery meter half full by morning. Doctors call this sleep architecture changing with age. And it's not just the hours, it's the quality. You might wake up more often in the night to use the bathroom, or toss and turn because of joint pain or even subtle sleep apnea. By the time your alarm rings, it's like you've run a marathon in your dreams, but only walked a few laps in reality. Here's an unusual fact that shows how strange sleep can be. Leonardo da Vinci reportedly practiced polyphasic sleep, short naps every few hours instead of one long night's rest. He claimed it kept him alert and gave him more waking time to paint and invent. While that might sound appealing, science suggests otherwise. For men over 50, skipping consolidated deep sleep could actually accelerate fatigue, not fight it. And here's where the academic debate kicks in. Is polyphasic sleep, multiple naps instead of one long rest, ever truly beneficial as we age? Or does it simply mask exhaustion? Some researchers argue the brain can adapt, while others believe it starves the body of critical deep sleep cycles. The jury's still out, but for you, consistency matters more than experimentation. Here's a lesson to carry. It's not just about getting enough hours, it's about protecting the quality of those hours. Doctors often suggest simple strategies: dimming lights in the evening to cue melatonin, cutting caffeine after noon, or sticking to a fixed bedtime, even on weekends. Small shifts like these can reset your body clock, making mornings less of a battle. And let's face it, there's humor in how sleep betrays you. You can nap in a chair at 2 p.m. like a pro, yet at midnight, you're wide awake scrolling on your phone like a teenager. Or worse, you fall asleep watching TV, wake up at 1 a.m. in the recliner, then stumble to bed only to lie there staring at the ceiling. If sleep were a relationship, you'd call it complicated, but don't miss the bigger picture. Every small decision when you dim the lights, whether you sneak that evening espresso, how often you glance at glowing screens before bed, feeds directly into the energy you wake up with. Protecting your sleep is protecting your mornings. And mornings, for a man over 50, are where you either build momentum or fight fatigue all day long. So, when you wake up sluggish, it's not always your willpower or discipline failing. It could be the architecture of your sleep quietly shifting beneath you. And once you know that, you can start rebuilding. You've heard the old saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But after 50, the truth is more nuanced because what you put in your body at sunrise can either refill your tank or drain it even further. And many men don't realize that their morning energy drop is linked less to how long they sleep and more to what they ate or didn't eat the night before. Let's start with hydration. As men age, the body naturally loses some ability to conserve water, which means you can wake up mildly dehydrated without even knowing it. That single factor alone can make your head foggy, your mood low, and your energy flatlined. The solution might be as simple as a glass of water before coffee. Imagine your body as a car engine. Coffee is the ignition spark, but water is the oil. Try starting your day without oil, and no wonder the engine rattles. Now, let's talk food. Late night eating sabotages mornings more than most men realize. A heavy dinner, especially loaded with refined carbs or alcohol, disrupts deep sleep cycles and keeps your blood sugar bouncing like a pinball machine. By morning, instead of a steady stream of energy, you get a crash that feels suspiciously like laziness. Doctors often encourage smaller, earlier dinners with more protein and fewer empty carbs, not to punish you, but to give your morning fuel system a fighting chance. And here's an odd fact you probably didn't expect. Monks who practice strict fasting routines often reported sharper morning alertness despite consuming fewer calories. Their secret wasn't magical, it was metabolic. By keeping blood sugar stable overnight, their brains woke up steadier, not sluggish. Which brings us to the modern debate. Is skipping breakfast, a version of intermittent fasting, a hidden advantage or a risky move for men over 50? The academic world is split. Some studies suggest fasting stabilizes insulin sensitivity and keeps energy even. Others argue that skipping breakfast can stress the adrenal system and worsen fatigue in older men. The truth may lie in individual differences. Some of you will thrive with black coffee until noon. Others will crash like a smartphone onto percent battery. Here's the lesson. What you eat when you break your fast, or whether you eat at all, should be intentional. A balanced breakfast with protein like eggs, Greek yogurt, or nuts, fiber like oats or berries, and hydration can stabilize blood sugar and fuel both body and brain. But mindless choices, a couple of pastries, or coffee, can rob you of steady energy before the day even begins. And of course, humor sneaks in here too. You know that moment when you convince yourself that 3 donuts don't count if you eat them standing at the counter. Or when you tell yourself bacon is basically a health food because it's high protein. These little bargains we make with ourselves are funny, but your body keeps the scorecard whether you admit it or not. So here's your encouragement. Test your fuel. Pay attention to how different breakfast or no breakfast at all affect your mornings. Your body after 50 is like a classic car. It will run, but it demands the right fuel. Once you learn what keeps you humming, those heavy mornings won't feel like punishment anymore. Picture this. You shuffle into the kitchen, pour that first cup of coffee, and collapse into the chair like a man twice your age. 10 minutes pass. The caffeine hasn't kicked in yet, and you're already calculating how many hours until your next nap. Sound familiar? The missing piece often, in more rest or more coffee, it's movement. Your body after 50 is like an engine that needs a gentle warm-up before it runs smoothly. When you were younger, you could roll out of bed, skip stretching, and still feel like you had nitro in your veins. Now, staying still too long makes your muscles tighten, your joints stiffen, and your blood flow sluggish. That's why light movement in the morning works less like exercise and more like turning the key in the ignition. Doctors often call it micro-exercise, short bursts of gentle activity that tell your nervous system it's time to wake up. Something as simple as 10 minutes of shoulder rolls, toe touches, or even a brisk walk to the mailbox can flip your bodies on switch. One unusual detail. Roman soldiers were reportedly required to stretch and march lightly before sunrise patrols, not just to limber up, but because their commanders noticed alertness improved when the body moved first thing in the morning. They didn't have coffee machines, but they understood circulation. The lesson here is simple. Motion is medicine. Your muscles are basically batteries, storing glucose and oxygen that only get released when you use them. No movement means those energy stores stay locked away, leaving you sluggish and heavy. Even 5 minutes of stretching is like pressing the unlock button. But there's still debate in the medical world. Should older men exercise before or after eating breakfast? Some researchers say fasted exercise taps into fat stores and boosts energy later in the day. Others warn it can spike cortisol, leaving you drained before lunch. The answer depends on your body's response. Some of you will feel sharper walking before food. Others will need a banana first just to get the gears turning. Here's the funny part. The excuses we invent to avoid movement in the morning could fill a comedy routine. I'll stretch after coffee. I'll walk after work. Bending down to put on socks already counts as yoga. You laugh at yourself, but deep down, you know your body craves more than those accidental workouts. The beauty is, it doesn't take a gym membership or hour-long routines. The sets of light push-ups against the counter, a minute of marching in place, or simply walking while sipping your coffee. These small acts tell your heart, lungs, and brain, wake up, we're alive. Over time, this compounds into steadier mornings, stronger muscles, and sharper focus. So, when you think about reclaiming your morning energy, don't just reach for caffeine, reach for motion. Your body, in asking for punishment, it's asking for circulation. And once you give it, mornings stop feeling like a battle and start feeling like a chance again. Even if you eat well, sleep smarter, and sneak in a little stretching, there's still one sneaky thief that robs your mornings: stress. After 50, you may not feel the same adrenaline rush you once did, but stress doesn't disappear, it simply changes costumes. It shows up as overthinking at 3 a.m., a heavy chest the moment you wake up, or that quiet dread when you open your email. Here's the tricky part. Cortisol, the same hormone that's supposed to help wake you up, can turn against you if it spikes to high. Instead of feeling alert, you feel restless, irritable, or foggy. It's like your brain is a computer stuck buffering, endlessly spinning the wheel without loading the page. Doctors note that men over 50 often struggle with what's called cortisol dysregulation, where the morning rise is either too steep or too flat. Either way, it steals the sharpness you used to trust. Winston Churchill, one of history's busiest men, had a rather unusual way of handling stress. He often began his workday in bed. He would read reports, dictate letters, and even hold meetings while lounging under the covers until late morning. Odd as it sounds, it allowed him to ease into the day without crashing his nervous system. While I'm not suggesting you run your business in pajamas, it does raise a point. Managing stress in the morning matters as much as managing food or exercise. The academic world still wrestles with this. Does morning journaling actually reset cortisol spikes, or is it just trendy self-help fluff? Some psychologists swear by it, pointing to reduced stress hormones when men write down their thoughts. Others say it's more placebo than physiology. Either way, the act of clearing your mind onto paper often feels like defragmenting your hard drive. Suddenly your mental files load faster. Here's the lesson. Stress isn't just an emotional weight. It's a biological drain on your energy. Your body spends fuel fighting invisible battles before you've even had breakfast, which means the way you manage stress shapes the way you feel every single morning. And of course, stress offers plenty of comedic moments too. Like when you catch yourself arguing with someone in your head before you've even brushed your teeth. Or when you rehearse the same comeback line in the shower 3 times, only to realize the conversation happened 3 years ago. Humor helps, because laughter flips your nervous system from fight mode to relax mode faster than any breathing technique. Doctors often suggest simple practices, 3 minutes of deep breathing, a short gratitude list, or even just stepping outside and letting natural sunlight hit your eyes to reset your circadian rhythm. Small, doable steps that don't require you to become a monk, just a man who understands his mornings are precious. So, when you wake up sluggish, don't forget to ask, is it my body, or is it my mind carrying too much weight into the day? The answer, more often than not, is both, and once you lighten the load upstairs, you'll feel it everywhere else. By now you've seen the puzzle pieces: hormones, sleep cycles, food, movement, stress. But there's another layer. What today's doctors actually recommend for men over 50 who feel their mornings slipping away. Because while your buddy at the gym might swear by cold showers and bulletproof coffee, the real answer often begins with medical insight. The first thing most doctors suggest is simple, but often overlooked: a blood panel. Not just testosterone, but thyroid hormones, vitamin D, magnesium, and even iron levels can reveal why your mornings feel like molasses. It's like running diagnostics on a classic car. You don't just check the gas, you check the oil, the plugs, the wires. A weak spark plug can slow the whole ride. And here's a quirky detail: some physicians actually ask their patients to keep sleep diaries. Just a notebook by the bed where you jot down when you fell asleep, how many times you woke up, and how you felt in the morning. At first it feels silly, like writing love notes to your pillow, but after a couple weeks, patterns jump out. Maybe you always wake tired after pasta dinners. Maybe your worst nights follow late TV binges. Doctors can use these diaries like detectives, spotting culprits you might miss. Of course, the topic of supplements comes up quickly: magnesium for muscle relaxation, vitamin D for morning mood, omega-3 south for brain sharpness. Some men even explore melatonin or prescription sleep aids, but here's where debate heats up. Are we patching the roof or fixing the foundation? Doctors remind us that pills can support, but they rarely replace, lifestyle changes. And then there's testosterone therapy. For some men, it feels like turning the clock back a decade. Energy surges, mornings feel lighter, even libido reawakens. But for others, it brings side effects or risks that outweigh the gains. The medical community itself debates fiercely: are testosterone boosters overprescribed like a quick fix, or are they an underused tool for men who truly need them? The answer isn't universal. It depends on your lab results, your history, and your goals. Here's the important lesson: what you need at 55 isn't necessarily what your buddy needs at 65. Personalized medicine and finding your exact deficiencies and strengths is far more powerful than chasing general advice. Doctors today emphasize tailoring solutions. One man might need more movement, another needs thyroid support, another needs nothing but stress reduction. And let's admit, there's humor in the whole process. You walk into a clinic thinking you're just a little tired, and suddenly you're holding lab results with words you can't pronounce. Or the doctor tells you to cut back on sugar, and you nod politely, already imagining the stash of chocolate bars in your desk drawer. Being human is funny, and the more you can laugh with your doctor and yourself, the lighter the load feels. So here's your encouragement: don't self-diagnose forever. You've seen how mornings change after 50. Your hormone shift, your sleep feels lighter, your breakfast matters more, your body craves movement, your stress reshapes your mood, and doctors now offer insights that can reset your entire rhythm. So, where does this leave you? At a crossroads. You can accept sluggish mornings as the new normal, or you can reclaim them as a fresh beginning. Here's the truth: mornings are not just about energy, they're about identity. They set the tone for how you see yourself the rest of the day. Do you rise feeling like a man who's winding down, or like one who still has purpose, fire, and something to give? The answer isn't written in your age, it's written in your habits. Think back to Leonardo da Vinci's strange nap cycles, to the monks who fasted yet stayed alert, to the Roman soldiers stretching before dawn, even to Churchill working in bed. History shows us that humans have always wrestled with mornings. And here you are, carrying that same torch in the 21st century, looking for your own way to greet the sun. The good news is, you don't have to get everything perfect. Maybe today it's just drinking water before coffee. Tomorrow it's stretching for 3 minutes. Next week it's asking your doctor for a blood test you've put off. Each small step is like adjusting the dials on your dashboard, bringing the whole engine back into tune. Here's the odd truth most men miss. Reclaiming your morning isn't just about feeling awake, it's about feeling alive. When you open your eyes and start with clarity instead of fatigue, the entire day unfolds differently. You speak with more patience. You work with sharper focus. You laugh more easily, and you stop feeling like life is something happening to you, and start feeling like you're driving again. And yes, humor is part of it too. Because even if you spill water on your shirt during stretches, or fall asleep mid-journaling, or realize your healthy breakfast smoothie has more sugar than a candy bar, laugh. Because laughter itself is a morning fuel, and men who carry joy into the day burn brighter. So remember, mornings after 50 can still be vibrant. Not the same as they were at 25, but in some ways, better. You've earned wisdom, you've gathered perspective, and you now know your body's signals matter. Use them, work with them, honor them. And as you move forward, hold on to this thought. Your mornings are not over, they're just beginning again. Life after 50 brings changes that many men don't expect, especially in the mornings. Energy once taken for granted can suddenly dip, leaving you groggy, stiff, or foggy even after a full night's sleep. But as you've seen, this isn't simply getting older. It's a story written in hormones, sleep cycles, nutrition, stress, and lifestyle. Testosterone and cortisol rhythms shift, sleep grows lighter, and your body responds differently to food and hydration. Add in stress and modern habits, and no wonder mornings feel heavier. Yet history and medicine both show us that men have always faced this challenge and found solutions. From Roman soldiers stretching at dawn, to monks fasting for clarity, to doctors today recommending blood panels and personalized care, the message is the same: you are not powerless. The path forward is built on small, intentional choices. Drink water before coffee. Adjust your dinner and breakfast. Stretch for circulation. Write down your thoughts to lighten the mind. Work with your doctor to uncover what your body specifically needs. Each step adds up, and together they rebuild the rhythm of your mornings. The real lesson is this: mornings after 50 are not an ending, but a reset button. They are an invitation to live with more awareness, more wisdom, and yes, more energy than you may expect. You can wake not only with purpose, but with pride, knowing you've chosen to care for the man you still are and the man you're still becoming. Remember, your body and mind still deserve strength, respect, and care no matter your age. If you do one thing today, let it be choosing yourself and moving forward with purpose. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.